Hey everyone, welcome to the Oasis podcast. I'm your host, Miss AJ. Thanks for tuning in. An oasis is something that provides refuge, relief, or a pleasant contrast, and that is exactly what you will find tuning into the Oasis podcast. This is a space where I and special guests will be cultivating intentional and honest conversations about life's journey. Subscribe everywhere you listen to podcasts and watch us on YouTube now.
I think that's a great question to ask, because you can ask me now, why am I spiritual? And I can give you some answers. Mm-hmm. You would have asked me why I was a Catholic, I'd have been like, because my mama and my grandma said. I didn't know nothing else.
Where does Tanisha show up in that? Because your mama and your grandmama told you? So you're honoring your mother and your grandma. So I say that to people all the time when they talk about certain practices. I'm a Gemini. And so Geminis like to stir the pot of conversation. We like to incite thought. It gets us excited.
I want to throw in there, I think astrology is of God too. There's very little that I don't think is of God. I think God presents, but there's the thing. Some people who are of religious beliefs feel those things are demonic. They feel those things are just not. I think because
then he created all of that.
Thank you. So if you believe he created everything, then why then separate certain things that make you uncomfortable?
Right.
That's the piece that doesn't make sense to me. This world is full of millions and millions of people. Everyone is not going to receive God in the same way. They're not going to receive his word in the same way. They're not going to receive his teachings in the same way. So there are different people, different things that are put into this world to get the message across. And if people really understand, again, where certain things come from and how they're used, they will see the spirituality of them.
Thank you.
But I digress. Go ahead, girl.
No. Good point. I agree with you. How can you remove God from anything? Everything is God.
Right.
Everything, even the things that make you uncomfortable is God.
Exactly.
And I question people when I'm able to have some open dialogue, because sometimes I'll be like, I ain't even gonna go there.
Right.
Some people ignorant, and I don't be having the patience. But when I'm able to have some open dialogues around religion and around belief, and people get stuck in their thinking and judge other people, oh well, I don't mess with that because I don't play around with that or juju and that. And I always like to point out commonalities in what they believe.
Oh my goodness, so much.
So I said to somebody who happened to be Catholic, and I'm not Catholic, so
Especially Catholicism has a lot of similarities, for sure.
Thank you.
For sure.
Right. I don't know everything about Catholicism, but I know that they light candles up in the Catholic Church.
Yep.
They have statues of all the virgins.
That symbolizes,
Right, that symbolize deities.
We're not praying to the statues, because that was always something that I had to tell people. We're not praying to the statues. We're praying to what they symbolized.
Right. Exactly. And so when I pointed that out, even when I pointed out speaking in tongues, when I pointed out speaking in tongue, edifying.
Possession.
Right. And they're like, oh, well, no. Like, there was a video on a social media platform of a African ritual. I don't know which country it was from, but there are a lot of African rituals of where they will adorn themselves in a costume and evoke spirit into the space. And like masks on the wall are demonic. And I'm like, how? I'm like, so a picture of a white man with blue eyes is cool, but a mask that looks like me, that looks like everybody who's ever looked like me, is the devil. But who told you that though? Who told you that what represents you is demonic?
Correct.
Because that was purposeful to remove you from your power, to remove you from being connected to source.
And even in the concept of honoring our ancestors, they're like, oh, that makes people squeamish. But even that has history behind it. When they did everything in their power, when I say they, the colonizers, did everything in their power to disconnect us from family, to disconnect us from where we came from. So us honoring our ancestors in any way that we can is us holding on to our roots and what we know. But
of course,
right, and that usually kind of, when people question that, it makes me go, why of everything? That's the one thing you question. What is demonic or wrong or evil in having a picture, having an altar, having something that symbolizes to help me remember.
And they do it, honey. We got statues of slave owners all over this country. They honor their
everywhere. There's symbolizations of those who passed.
Look at our currency. Our currency got dead old white people on it.
But me having a candle and some pictures of those who have passed, me providing libations for them, me just burning some incense or whatever to cleanse their space, to give them light, say their name, that's a problem. Right. But yeah, we got days named after people who are responsible for genocide.
Okay. And right over their head is the words "In God We Trust" on the dollar bill. Okay. With a slave owner planted right on the dollar bill. And that's normalized. That's regular. You know, it's hypocritical. They're hypocrites. Mm-hmm. But question everything. Why is it demonic? Who told you that? I just asked I always ask one simple question, but who told you that? But who told you that? Like where's the fact behind what you're saying? That sounds like an opinion, but who told you that this was of an evil source? Mm-hmm. You don't understand it. You may fear it. But why is it demonic? Who told you that? Because it looks like you. I see you in it. I see you in it. Mm-hmm. I see them honoring woman in it. I see them honoring womanhood. Do you know that the story of Noah and the flood, 40 days and 40 nights, is directly connected to the Nile? People don't know that. The Nile floods for 40 days and 40 nights. Mm-hmm. And then at the footbed of the Nile is rebirth after the flooding. 40 days and 40 nights. Mm-hmm. The stories in the Bible are metaphoric. They are metaphors. Correct. They are fables. And they are used to explain things that happen in life. Mm-hmm. And it's all connected. We can connect it back. It rained for 40 days and 40 nights. He had to collect to repopulate the earth. It's all connected, but people are conditioned.
Right. And I think, I'm hearing you, and I'm not sure if you of this mindset, but I am. I can hear this, know the history in it, know how it was utilized, and I can still see value in it, right? But that's a choice for me to see value in it. Whereas other people, they don't have the information, they don't have the knowledge, and they want to demean it. They want to shun it. Right. Correct. And I think that's another piece of how spirituality has opened up my mind substantially. Because when I was religious, I feel I was more closed-minded. And being now that I am spiritual, yes, I was more judgmental. I was so guilt-ridden too. Child, my anxiety, oh my goodness, was on 100.
Right. And how is that God? Fear God. Everything you do is a sin. Everything is a sin. Everything you do is a sin.
Spirituality, I know I'm still striving to be a better person every day. I'm still striving to be good and of love. But I also know that when I make mistakes, God is not going to throw me away. Right. You know, he's burning fiery hell. Correct. Right. These instances, these moments for me to grow to become a better person, as long as I keep him at the center of my life.
Hello.
Whereas when I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to hell. Like everything, I was just like, and I know people now who are religious. I know people who are so guilt-ridden. They're so like stressed, anxious, everything. And again, they don't want to address their mental health because they don't feel that's of God, right? They feel if they have an issue, they're going against God, which to me, that's a whole nother thing. But I'm not even going to go there.
Where did that come from? Where the hell did that come from? God didn't create therapists? Like
yes, they're so fearful to live their lives, to make certain mistakes, as if one, God didn't know you was going to do that. Or two, that there's not a lesson in that and that God is not punishing you.
Correct.
Right? It's yes, you made a choice because you have free will. There are consequences, but the mere fact there's still life in your body means that you have another chance, that God is giving you another chance to see things in the way he has fit for you. No? But I'm not the religious one though. I'm just spiritual and I can see it this way.
Listen, first of all, every morning when I open my eyes to a new day,
gratitude.
That is the first thank you I give, because that's the first miracle. That's the first miracle. That's the first gift of every day, is breath of life. Is okay, God, I got another opportunity to do this. There's something else I need to get from this moment. There's something in my contract I haven't fulfilled. I believe we all make a contract with God. We asked to come here. This is not, there's no circumstance in our existence. We are in this space at this time because we asked to be here. I won't get too deep on whatever, if we've populated and been in other spaces and been here before, because some people don't believe in that. But I believe in this moment, we chose to be in this space because there was some purpose for us to be in this space.
Yep, absolutely.
And when my purpose is done, I know that I'm going to hear, well done. Well done, my child. And I know I'm going to be back in the arms of the Lord. And that's what I'm striving for. I'm striving, let me get it right. Let me get it right. Let me do it right this time. Because I don't want to come back. I don't want to come back as a roach. I don't want to come back as a person. I don't want to come back here. And some people don't even believe in that.
Reincarnation, yeah.
But I want to get it right so that I can get my rest when I'm done. And I can and know that it's over. And I have faith in God that if he keeps bringing me back, he keeps bringing me to it. He's going to bring me through it. And so every morning I wake up, regardless of the circumstance of my life, it's always a thank you. It's always a thank you, God. Like the first thing I think is thank you, God. And then I go down the list. I start thanking him for insignificant shit. Like when I'm in the shower, I be like, oh God, thank you for this shower.
I do the same thing. I be like, thank you for this.
This is so good.
Hot water, Lord. Thank you.
Let me tell you why. Because I've experienced times where I couldn't take a shower. Not for reasons of not having a home, but like, you know, I travel. I'm a world traveler. It's been some days I done had to be funky because we've been in transit and couldn't get to running water in certain places I was in. Thank you, God, for this running water. Thank you, God, I could turn this AC on in 100-degree weather. Thank you, God. I know I pay my Con Edison bill, but thank you, God, for giving me a way to pay the Con Edison bill. Thank you, God. Like, I thank him for everything. I talk to God throughout the day because that's the relationship that I've established, that I was asked to establish, because I was sat down. I tell people all the time, that's my truth. That's my testimony. Everybody has their testimony, but I have mine. And I was sat down. God sat me down and was like, stop playing with me. Okay? Because I'm going to snatch your ass up out of here. And you're not ready to be snatched. But if you keep trying me, I'm going to snatch you clean up out of here. And then we're going to have to do this again. And we ain't got time for that. So stop playing with me and acknowledge my dominance in your life. And that is how I know my spirit is connected to what I believe. I'm convicted. Can't nobody tell me what I know about God. Period. I did not get it in church.
Period. Like, I just get so moved, even hearing you say that, I just get so moved and thinking about just the things that I've experienced in my life and what I've gotten through, that like, just that thought, when people who like want to turn their back on God or just are forsaking God because something didn't go their way, I'm like, but how? You know, like, how? But how? Like, it's
they don't have that spiritual connection.
Right. To know that you are here when someone else couldn't be, no matter if you are under a piece of tin. I don't know. Like, it really just makes me go, but how? I just get so moved in thinking about the things that I've experienced in my life and where I could have been. Like, and for God to just shed his grace and his light on me. Come on. You know? Come on. Like, it just boggles my mind. And then to think about that being discredited, that being insignificant because I say, oh, I'm not of an organized religion. Right. Nah.
So you can't possibly know God because you don't follow, because you ain't sitting in church on Sunday and you don't pray the way I pray.
Right. And just because I don't worship in community doesn't mean that I don't worship.
Right. Hello.
Doesn't mean I'm not connected. And my community worship looks different. You know what I mean? Or that
your worship is more significant.
Correct.
You know, because there is no, it's just God. It is just God. That's it. And it gets so real. It gets so real when you think about how people persecute you if you don't follow suit. And I'm just like, but you're not even acting of God right now. I don't even see the God in you. Like, I'm breaking bread. I feed you. You wouldn't feed me. You know, I give you a sip of water. You don't give me a sip of water. Like, where's your humanity? Where's God connect to your humanity? Because if you can persecute me because I don't pray like you, because I don't conform like you, then where's God in that? Where's God in that? Because he created it all. So when people get so charged behind religion, I'm like, y'all can't be spiritual. There's no spirit connected to that. Because God is not out here like, okay, today I want, you know what? I want y'all to go kill them because I like y'all better today. I like how y'all do it better. When y'all be praying to me 5 times a day, I feel more connected to y'all than I do for them over there. So go ahead and handle. That's not God. Yep. That's not God. God created a beautiful mosaic of free will. Yes. So he understood that we were going to decide to separate and to create our own versions of things. But the root of it, what we both established, was love and honoring God. That's it. And if you take those things out of it, none of the other BS you do matters. You can pray 5 times a day and still not know God
at all. Yep.
You can speak in tongues, dance around, catch the Holy Spirit, fall out, edify. You can lay hands and still not know God. At all. You can quote the Bible from front to back, back to front, and in between, and still not know God.
And walk right past your fellow man in need and turn up your nose.
Right, and judge.
I know that wasn't of God.
Right. Hello. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's it. So it gets deep. It gets deep and it gets real. And I think about this often. And I know I'm giving you all the segues today, which is so crazy. I'm about to give you another one. I think about this often now because I'm a parent.
Yes.
And I think about a lot of things because I'm a parent. I think when you become a parent, you just start to be like, oh my God, it's like existential crisis. You just think about all the things that you believe to be true. Because now you have a human to influence. You have somebody to influence.
That you're molding,
And I asked myself, how am I going to bring her up and help her discover her faith? And I was clear by saying it that way. Help her discover her faith.
Yep.
Because it may look very different than mine. Her faith may look like she needs to go to church every day or every week. Her faith may look like she needs some organization attached to it for her to feel secure in it. Her faith may not at all match anything that I believe. But how do I make space for her to develop a relationship with God? And the only thing I could think of, the only thing I could tell myself as a parent is, well, one, to show her your relationship, to show her how you relate to God, and to allow her to question, allow her to dig in it and dig into me and ask me, well, why do you do that? And then to see what interests her, to expose her to different things and see what sticks. So we can go to the temple. We can practice Buddhism. We can pray. That's my approach, because I don't want to indoctrinate my child. I want her to come to God and knowing God in the same way I was able to come to God and know God.
Correct.
So I think about it all the time, because people ask me all the time, well, when's her christening? And I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm going to do one. What if I have an African naming ceremony? What if I have a rites of passage? What if I have a libation ceremony? Because that's what I feel more connected to right now. And when we do this to little babies, like this is a baby. She's 3 months old. The only thing she worships is her mama and her bottle. Well, honestly, if you're going to tell the truth, that's the only thing in her world, in her very small, limited understanding. Right now, the only thing that she gets a source of is her mother is God, me.
Right.
I'm her God right now, because whenever she looks to me as if I'm her source of everything. That's how I look to God.
Yeah.
And so when we do these performative activities like christening a baby, we don't do it for the baby. We do it for us.
Right.
We do it for the family, because the family expects us to do it.
True.
We do it because that's what we always did. But then we don't even follow the practice after we christen the child of bringing them up a certain way. We just pour some water on their head and then
all right, that's the next.
That's it. And that's why it's performative. So I don't want to do that with my child. If I'm going to do it, it has to mean something.
Yep.
It has to mean something to her foundation. And so that's why I don't rush to do anything. I don't rush to like, oh yeah, I'm gonna plan the christening. No, I'm gonna sit on it for a minute. I'm gonna pray on it, and when I get it from God, then I'll follow suit. I'm gonna pray on what I should do with my child, because because that's me giving my child back to God.
I love that. I really love how you just said that, because I agree 1,000%. And I've thought about that same notion about how I was raised, and then how I would raise up my own children whenever they decide to pop up. whenever I'm blessed with a soul. But I agree. I'm not, again, like, because I took my own path, that was the path I was supposed to take. And I want to be open with allowing my children to take that path. I do believe in my path that I did receive things that were able to ground me because I started my path in religion. Mm-hmm. However, the difference that I would take is, it may not be Catholicism. It may just be a Christian faith or whatever. Right. I do believe that I would want my kids to receive a basis in that. However, I would also be a supplement until they get to a point where they can question. And when they do start questioning and start going, I don't know if, and I'm not going to shut them down like I was shut down when I was younger. I'm going to be like, oh, this is something you don't want to do anymore? Okay. Or have a conversation as to the whys, whatever they're questioning, and give them the choice. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Explore it. Right. Let them be students of God. Let them be students of religion. Like, fine, let's research that. This doesn't sit right with you. You don't like how that feels. Why does it not feel right for you in your spirit? Well, what is your spirit telling? What do you hear? What do you hear? Because we oftentimes, when we indoctrinate people, subjugate them to our thinking, we weaken or just completely damage their gift. Who am I to say that my child won't bring me closer to God? Who am I to say that she won't hear the voice of God more clearly than I ever could and be able to tell me what I need to know? But if I'm out here saying, well, no, you don't pray like mommy told you to pray. You don't believe like mommy told you to believe. Yes. I might be missing something as the reason why God placed her in my life anyway. Yeah. Because our children choose us. That's why I said we make contracts with God to come here. So we choose the path that we come through. I believe that. Not everybody believes that, but that's my belief. That we choose the path we come through. And by path, I mean the parents we come through. And our children absolutely come here to teach us something. And so if I'm so busy trying to control my child and trying to mold my child into a version that I'm comfortable with, I may actually be damaging the person they're supposed to be. And getting in the way of their purpose. All of us, everybody out here got to heal from childhood wounds and traumas of things that we have experienced in our formative years that have conditioned us to not believe in ourselves in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, and whether that is your parents or your family or the church or organized religion, whatever,
whatever it was something in our formative years that said, nope, the way you show up ain't it. And that sticks with everybody. And then they have to either unlearn that or they live a life of being miserable because they believe that shit for their lives. I want to not do that to my child. I want from the moment she can understand to be like, nah, you're it. You're absolutely it. And whoever you came here to be is who I want you to be. Yeah. And that's hard because it takes a lot of relinquishing. It takes a lot of faith. But that's what I think being spiritual is to relinquish and have faith.
Right. That's 1,000% it. Like 1,000. It's definitely relinquishing that power, but also in this at the same time understanding that power is inside of you too.
Oh yeah.
Because I think sometimes those who are not spiritual, if it's not one thing, it's the other, and they completely remove responsibility of themselves. And I ain't gonna name what and what, but you know what I'm saying. Like, and that to me also boggles my mind. Like, wait, just because it ain't going your way, then that means it's it's not nothing you doing. That there's no choices.
There's no
that
personal
you can make.
Got it.
I mean, I'm just asking.
That's like somebody that be saying, oh, well, like that has like a real effed up personality. And they're like, oh, it's just because I'm Aries. I'm like, no, it's just because you have an effed up personality. Like, I know a lot of great Aries. I just don't like you. And you're like, it's like they don't take any personal responsibility for their choice.
And I think at times that's what organized religion is used a lot as a crutch for a lot of things.
Girl, listen. Ooh. This is some stuff right here.
Girl, we be talking about this for hours, but it's just so much.
The streets are like this, but thank you for creating space for conversations like this to be had. Because I have to tell you, like, I think about this often. I have great relationships, great people in my life, and then I'm like, there's some things that we don't talk about, and I'm curious, like, why don't we go there with each other? Like, I haven't asked my friends, how do you plan to raise your children? What religion do you plan to raise your children? We haven't had those conversations. So this is the first, personal relationship that I've had that somebody has invited me to talk about religion and spirituality. I will say that religion and spirituality comes up. I can't say that I never talk about it.
Yeah.
But this explicitly, no, it's not invited into the space where we talk about it. And I think we have to talk about it because I think it's rooted in our survival. It's rooted in our survival.
Of course, the whole premise of my podcast is for us to have these conversations, right? These are conversations that we probably would have had one-on-one behind a closed door.
Absolutely.
But
we have had.
We've had for sure. Right. But it's to create that space for others, right? They can listen to this and maybe share it or to spark a conversation with somebody else. Because I know my own podcast has sparked conversations in my own relationship. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That conversations we didn't have one-on-one. But he hears something, he's like, wait a minute.
Right.
Can we talk about that?
That's what messes up relationships and marriages. The three biggest reasons is religion and finances. I don't know the third.
I forget that. Yeah.
I forget the third, but finances and religion break up marriages.
Oh, and child rearing. I think it's child rearing. Yeah.
How you want to raise your child? Yep. Exactly. It breaks up marriages because people are so tied and wedded to religion.
Yep.
And judgment that so you what? You want to be what? And you want our kids to be what? But that's not what I am. That's not going to work.
I'm not being paid for this promotion, but shout outs to Black Love because it's Black people. I'm going to support y'all. They actually this season have an episode and they touch on talking about faith, like fear and faith or something along those lines. And it's the first time that I've seen one of those episodes and they're talking about how religion impacted their relationship. So a lot of the couples are actually of different religions. So they talk about.
I saw that. I did see your advertisement for that.
So I watched that and I said, wow, this is so timely. Lord, let me tell you how the universe works.
I saw a clip. You know what? You're right. I saw a clip of a beautiful couple, an older African couple, where one of them was Muslim and the other was Catholic or Christian.
Christian, yep.
And the husband was like, when I look at my wife, I see God. And I said, now, you know what? I said, first of all, God, can you fashion me a man that be saying stuff like that for me?
I want one of them. I just want one of them.
I want one of them. I want him. Where she get him at? And I thought that was beautiful because he was like, I can't remove my wife from God because I know God gave her to me and I see God in her. She may not practice what I practice.
Correct.
But we see God in each other. Because we have love. And we both established that it's God and love. That's it. That's the root of all religion. It's God and love. And so I could say today, if I met a man who was of another or practiced something different than me, I could accept what he practiced. It doesn't mean that I have to convert.
Correct.
Right. I can respect you in your religious belief and your practices. I will not disregard or disrespect your religious practices. And I can still be me. And we can still be we.
Yep.
Because at the root of it, I know God is in it. And I know that love is in it. If you love God and you love God the way you love God, that's cool with me. As long as you're okay with the way I love God. I'm not okay with you trying to control me though. If you try to control me and you tell me I got to do it your way, then that ain't gonna work.
And of course, you segue perfectly to the next question.
I'm giving you all the segue.
All of it. Girl, we on point. Like I mentioned earlier, I never, in dating when I was younger, thought about religion as a part of my relationship. It was like, I am what you are. Honestly, I don't even know if I ever asked God if they follow religion. It just probably came up or something like that. Oh, I'm going to church. And I'm like, oh, they go to church. Oh, cool. You know, like I never recall having real in-depth conversations until I got older. And again, I lost myself, because I did lose myself. And I was in the search, and then I kind of then again in finding myself, I got reconnected, or rather connected to God in a personal way. And that made me start thinking about people's personal connection with God. And that's when I started dating and looking at it at a different lens. And I realized for me, yes, being the woman that I currently am and growing into, I want a man that believes in God. Now, how? That manifests, meaning if you believe in religion or whatever.
Right.
Long as you know God is real.
Hello.
Right?
Hello.
And you are living to honor God. Love is at the center of your life. God is at the center of your life. We good, homie.
Right.
What up?
I don't care what you call it. We are on the same page. I don't care what it's called, what you say you practice, as long as you know there is a God, there is a source that is connected to you, and you are connected to them. And like you said, the root of your connection is based in love, not in fear, not in control, but in love. Like, we rocking out. I would want to learn from you. I would want to learn from you.
Absolutely.
I would want to expand, because I also believe when you meet your person, you should add value to them, and they should add value to you. And there should be some growing done through that person. And so I don't have all the answers in spirituality. I just know what I know.
Correct.
So if I meet somebody that helps me know more and brings me a little bit closer to God, thank you. Amen. And gives me a little bit more clarity.
I love that. Like, that's beautiful. Yeah.
Right. Like, that's what's up. That means, like, because that's what it's supposed to be. And strengthens my faith and strengthens my conviction. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope that I offer the same. But it really doesn't matter what you practice, as long as you believe that there is a God, because there is a God. Yep. But I do pay attention to certain things that don't align with me. I'll be honest. I went on one date with this guy. He was young and immature, so that was really the root of it. He was a little young and, a little young Thundercat. But but he had said something in the space of the date that I was like, ooh, and I really leaned back at the table like, that ain't gonna work for me. And it was based on spirit. So he actually I think I told you about it.
Yeah.
He had recently lost his father. Right before we went on this first date, his father had passed away. And so I'm immediately like, oh my goodness, my condolences. And I'm like, it was kind of weird for me that he wants to go on this date and his daddy just died. But that was his business. I didn't know his relationship with his dad.
Right.
And he happened to be, I'm going to tell you what his ethnicity is. Not that it was relevant or that it's relevance to it, but he was of Nigerian descent. So I was like, okay, well, what are the plans for your father? He was like, we're going to have a funeral or whatever, but it is what it is. Like, I'd be thinking, my brother's making a big deal out of it. I'm just like, come on, let's go ahead and bury my dad. So I was like, okay. And I'm putting on my clinical hat, like, ooh, maybe he's just
don't know how to grieve, and
right, he doesn't know how to grieve and process. But then he said something. He was like, because all of this is just for show. When you die, you just dead. That's what he said. And so I said, okay. So I said, let me explore, because I'm a Gemini. We like to explore shit, and this is the first date. So I'm like, let me get into his brain, how he think a little bit. So I said, so do you believe you just believe you dead and that's it? Like, do you believe that spirit lives on? Do you believe that we're connected to spirit? Like, what happens to your spirit when you die? Is I think what I asked him. He was like, I don't believe in that. Like, spirit. I said, do you believe in ancestors? He was like, no. I said, ooh. So then I looked around, because I said, I know my ancestors don't play that shit. And I was like,
all of them went.
Like, ooh. I leaned back. I was like, this table might fall over, because the way my ancestors be wrecking shit around here, don't say that. Don't say that. And then I just said, and he was young. So what I said to myself was, he just doesn't know yet. But I know. And I know that we're not equally yoked. I know that there is not an alignment. I'm not saying he won't ever get there. I'm not saying in 10 years, 10 months, 10 days, he won't get there. He won't get there with me.
Correct. Because I ain't got the time.
I'm already there. And it would dishonor who I am to go there with him.
Yeah.
So I can't say that I accept everything, but I don't judge him because I wasn't looking at him side eye like, yo, honor your ancestors. You like, I just was like, ooh, you'll get there, and maybe he won't. But I know that that's not me. I know that I honor my ancestors. I know that I speak to my ancestors. I speak to people as if they are still present. Like I had a conversation in the shower today with one of my friends that passed away. I was like, Nicola, can you believe this shit? Like said her name and said out because she popped into my consciousness. So I knew she was there. So I'm like, well, let me talk to you since you popped into my consciousness. And that's how I live in my everyday life. Now, how can I make a relationship with a person who's like, when you die, you just dead?
Right, because they're going to look at you.
I'm walking around here talking to spirit. He's going to be looking at me like, what the hell?
All kinds of sideways. And even if it's not, you outwardly talking to spirit, but if you at sometimes you are burning candles or you're putting out an offering or, you're doing certain things, like, what kind of, you know what I mean? And that can make for uncomfortable situations if that person doesn't have the capacity to have conversation, to ask questions and not do it.
And that's what he
correct.
He didn't have that. And so I was like, his lack of maturity is like why it's a no-go for him. Not that he doesn't have an understanding of spirituality or a belief in it, because he could not believe it for the rest of his life and really just believe when you die, that's it, and there's nothing to it. And that's okay. But I also realized that he didn't have the maturity to accept people who don't believe that.
That part.
I was able to discern that he also didn't have maturity to accept my position. Because I shared with him, I said, okay, I said, that's what you believe. And I shared with him, I said, well, I absolutely believe in spirit because I've actually had experiences where spirits have come back to me. And so I can just only speak to my experience. I have had people who passed on, who have visited me, who have spoken to me, who have let me know. And he was like, nah, I don't believe in that shit. Like he just was very childish, like, whatever, that's bullshit. And I was like, okay, well, let me.
And that's his reality. And that's just the fact of the fact, right? That's your reality. Cool. I know what I know.
But it don't work for me, chapter. You're gonna have my spirit snatching my edges and my ancestors coming for me because I'm out here laying with you and they're like, oh, hell for you already. Because also in my life, when I be doing shit I'm not supposed to do, my ancestors and my spiritual guys, they be snatching me bald, honey. Okay? They be sending, you know how in the Bible it's plagues and shit that happens? I be having real shit happen in my life. That is very reminiscent of plagues and stuff. And I'm like,
y'all wanted out of alignment and you wasn't listening.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. God be like, oh, we know how to get her ass. Oh, she don't like bugs. Oh, okay. Let's do that right there. Oh, she don't like being uncomfortable. Let's make her real uncomfortable. Like, so that's how my spiritual guys and my ancestors move with me. So I know they would have snatched me bald if I had went there.
Yeah, it's imperative that you can worship your God or your source however you want to, I'm going to respect it, as long as it aligns, exactly what you said, aligns with what feels right? And it doesn't necessarily have to agree with it, but as long as you're like, oh, your source, for me, you say like your source is the devil. That doesn't really align with the things that I'm okay with. And I'm not gonna be like, but I'm gonna be like, that just doesn't align with me. I don't think that my life and your life will mesh well together. And so that might be a decision that I'm like, okay, and maybe I'm not gonna, but anything that again stems from love, stems from God, I'm here with it. And I'm not gonna disrespect you, not to say that I can't be around someone who's atheist or agnostic or whatever it is, or they don't believe in nothing. They think we die and we dead, okay, but it's not who I want to connect myself with spiritually. I think that's essential. I think that's important. It's for my development, right? Not even as a couple, I'm being selfish, for my development. I think that's essential. But then for us to grow together.
I will add a third thing to that list. So know God, know love, and honor my existence as a woman and a Black woman. If what you practice subjugates women and subjugates Black people, then I can't align with you. If it's oppressive to women and I'm a woman, I can't align. I'm just gonna be honest. Like if I got to shut up, and that's your religious belief, like shut up and be seen and not heard, and I got to what? That don't work for me because that doesn't align with my spirit. That's okay. That might work for you, and you're gonna find a woman that works for, exactly. But it don't work for me.
Exactly.
So if I feel like your religious belief subjugates my existence of who Ayanna is and boxes me into a world that I can't be free to be me, then we are not aligned. And that's okay. I'm not judging you for what you believe in, but I don't have to attach myself to it either.
Exactly. And that's the key point, right? I'm not going to attach myself. I don't agree with it. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to demean you. I'm not going to try to change your mind. I'm going to say thank you. Be on your merry ways.
Right.
And that's just what it's going to be, right? As opposed to, let me convert. Or let me change your mind. No.
I'm not trying to waste your time.
I respect you. You respect me. And we're good. At the end of the day, just like with almost anything, you badgering someone, you trying to drill something in someone's head, it's rare that actually works. You know what does work the most? Living your life as an example.
Hello.
Letting them see how God is blessing you. Letting them see how God has grown you. Letting them see just the abundance that you receive for your just being grateful. Just how much your life has grown and flourished, or how you get through things. Not to say because your life might be hard, but just how you get through things. That's all you got to do. You ain't got to sit there and keep, let me tell you, because eventually.
They talk about the living testimony, the living testament of God.
Correct.
That's what you're describing is being a living testament of God. Like, I don't got to tell you, I can show you. I can show you. Sometimes it trips me out how good God blesses me in my life. I'm like, oh God, you just showing out. And when I think about this little crying baby right here, and I just tell the testimony of just me becoming a mother and just how it happened.
That's crazy.
If you don't see the miracle in that, if you don't see the God in that, it's things like that. So I don't have to try and change your mind about what you believe. I don't have to try and convince you to do it my way. Because my way may not work for you. Just like your way doesn't work for me. But when you see me, you're going to know I'm a child of God. When you see me, you're going to see the light of God in me.
I'm going to respect you. And I just want you to respect the fact that I could wake up, go to church with you, come home, honor my ancestors, then energize my crystals, light my candles up. Like I understand I am all these things, okay? And none of these things contradict because they're all connected. As long as it helps me stay aligned, it helps me stay focused and focused on God and what it is I'm supposed to do and develop as a woman and as a person. It is not bringing harm to any other person, or I'm demeaning or reducing anything or anyone. Respect that, and baby, we good.
There you go. That's the root of it. I think I can't say it any better than that. Like, that's the root of it. That's the root of it. Somebody want to go hug some trees. That's how they feel connected. Come on, let's go hug some trees, sis. Come on, that ain't my thing. But you know what? I'll hug a tree with you. I like trees. I like sitting under trees.
Correct.
If you want me to go with you to Bible study, we can go study the word as long as I can question it, as long as I can get up in it. Because word holds power, so I'm going to question every word on the page. If you want to play a gospel album, I'll be singing all the songs, know all the words. And then I could come in here, like you said, chant, take my Tibetan bowl out, play my singing bowl.
Namyo Horenge Kyo. Okay. Like
get these crystals popping, use my pendulum, ask a couple of questions of the spirit with my pendulum.
Pull out some tarot cards if I want to.
Thank you. Hello, pull a little tarot card if I want to, get another message. Or just sit down and shut up and wait on God and still get the message. Period. But as long, again, like you said, as long as it doesn't infringe on anybody else's right to be and know and practice what they believe and to be and know and be one with God in the way that they believe in, then then that's it. That's the real, that's what God intends, in my opinion. That's what God intended for it to be like. You can do, bless you. You can do you. I can do me. We can do we. But as long as we understand that God got us all.
Period. End of story.
That's it.
We could probably drop the mic there, but okay, like
I mean, we done took him to church. Whoever watched this episode, if y'all don't see something out of this, y'all just wasn't listening. Y'all, I know y'all got a word or 10 up out of this conversation because I got a word. Okay. It's real.
And every time I have these conversations, every time I feel like you and I talk to, I get revitalized. And how you gonna tell me? You know what I mean? Like,
and this is church right here. We have a church right here.
I was just about to say, how you gonna tell me I'm not worshiping? How you gonna tell me that what I'm doing is not connecting to God? How?
Because you use the word. Listen, we are linguistic people. We are writers. You use the word. You feel revitalized. Revival. Okay, they had church revivals all the time. When we connect with people, that's soul work. That's God. That's God connecting people. When I can connect with you and your energy pours into my energy and we feel uplifted through a conversation, we just had church. We talked about the goodness of God for the past 2 hours. That's church.
Church. All
we need is the damn offering plate and the benediction and the song on and let us on out. We're done. Okay, we done had church right now because God is in this. When 2 or more gather. In his name, he is present in this. So, we had our own little service right now, and y'all got the word. Y'all are welcome. We're going to listen. The plate is cash app. Listen, what's your cash app? Drop the cash app names in the description. HarrietReturned, Oasis podcast. If you want to bless us with a love offering, okay, I'm being a business owner right now because we are Black women business owners. Okay, right? If you want to bless the Oasis podcast with a love offering, you want to bless HarrietReturned with a love offering for this word we just gave you, feel free to hit our cash apps. Okay. But no, it's for real. It's for real. We had church right now. We had church right now.
And again, like I mentioned, I wouldn't have had this conversation with anybody other than you. Because again,
I thank you. I thank you for having it with me.
Thank you for making the time. Because again, you juggling a lot of stuff. You busy out here in these streets. Making time for me. I appreciate that.
This is what I'm juggling right here.
Look at the baby.
This is what I'm juggling right here.
And can we? Oh, I don't know if you want to share her name, but I just think it's so applicable.
Right?
So applicable.
Right? I will share her first name. Her first name is Trinity.
Okay.
It's just so appropriate. I did not name her, but her birth mom named her Trinity, and she was born on 3/3. And so it's just so appropriate.
Just divine.
When I tell you divine.
Okay.
But that's gonna be a whole nother
and
podcast.
That's something you manifested into your life. We talked about this on podcast, but those who know you personally have known you talked and manifested that. How is that not God?
How is it not God?
How
is this little 3-month-old baby not a manifestation of God's grace? That's what I say. And I thank him every day for this manifestation of his grace. Every single time I lay my eyes on my child, I say thank you, God, because I know that it's nothing but God. I've had people tell me for the past 3 months how much this child favors me. We're not genetically attached to each other. She's not my biological child, but she looks just like me and my family. And I say, every time somebody says it, I'm like, oh, well, that's God. I give him reverence and I give him credit.
That's it.
Because it's nothing I did. It's nothing I did, but just had faith in him.
That's it. There's nothing in my life and out of my life.
Hello.
That God ain't have a hand in.
Hello.
Period. So even when I'm down, even when I'm having my moments, because Lord knows I'll be having them, what gets me back to center quick, fast, is knowing, baby girl, you not only prayed for this, but God gave you this. You know, the good and the bad. You going through this for a reason because it's taking you to where you need to be. Hello. So listen, you manifested that. And that right there, if people can't look at their lives and just see how God is at play, to me, it's like, there's nothing I can say.
What's blocking you? Right. What's blocking you from recognizing God in your life?
Right.
And it may be the religion you practicing.
It could be.
It may be. It could be. Okay. What's blocking you from recognizing God? If you can't see God in your day to day, in your moment to moment, you can't see and honor his grace and mercy and loving kindness moment to moment, then ask yourself what's getting in the way.
Amen.
Because God is in all things. Like you said, God is in it all.
There ain't a moment I'm down and I don't know what to do that God don't throw in things, people.
Hello.
to be like, okay, here's what you need to do.
Refuge, safety net. Okay, safe in his arms. Girl, don't get me started.
We can keep going and going. Like,
I don't know. I'm about to bust out my playlist. I'm about to bust out my gospel playlist.
Girl, listen.
I'm about to listen to the Clark sisters right quick. Nah, like for real. God is so good. I have every reason to give him praise.
Is there a final word you want to share with the listeners or the viewers?
I will say, know God for yourself. Whatever you choose to do is your right to do it. But know God for yourself. That is my final message. And the cost of freedom is faith. Have some faith. Have a little bit more faith in your life.
Okay.
I'm telling you, you'll be free with some faith. Have a little bit more faith in your life. That's what I'll end with.
Absolutely. And just to add on to that, whatever you believe in, whatever organization, you spiritual, religious, as long as you are guided by love, right? And guided and allowing that love to grow you into something better, it don't matter what anyone has to say about it, honestly. And just having discernment, like what we talked about earlier, not being sheep, right? Having discernment and understanding what comes from a human aspect versus what's godly.
Yes.
That's what I would leave people with. Yes. Is use not only your spirit, that intuition, whatever you want to call that, use that to guide your growth, right? And the things you're hearing, ingesting, and especially when it is tied to your spiritual learning, right? God gave you everything you needed to know.
Hello.
Everything that you need is in you already. You just sometimes need outside things to kind of maybe spark it, to dig it up a little bit, right? Bring it to the surface.
That's it.
Essentially.
That's it. To unearth it. That's right.
That is it. But you're going to just believe in something, right? Believe in something that's going to grow you and that is rooted in love. And that's just what I'll leave the listeners and the viewers with.
I know that's right.
Okay. And I hope y'all got something out of this.
That's a good word.
All right. This is a long episode, but I hope y'all got something out of this. I hope that this touched someone. Maybe if, you kind of were feeling away, maybe this brought some clarity. And just, again, I'll put definitely, of course, how to put our tags and how to reach us. You want to reach out to any one of us, have a conversation, I'm definitely okay with that. I ain't no preacher. All I can tell you is about my experiences and what I've learned and what's helped me get through. And if that can help you get through, I'm here for it.
Absolutely. I will offer the same. I'm open to having a conversation and connecting with people. Please hit me up. I'm going to be reading the comment section. I want to know what y'all feel about this episode, because some powerful stuff was said in this space. And again, thank you for creating the space for us to have a conversation.
Thank you for having it. Thank you for trusting in me to even create a safer, brave space, as we learned in the MI training. A brave space to allow this conversation to happen. I thank you for trusting me to do that.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to connect again.
Always.
What we talking about next? Girl? I'm coming back.
Actually, I mean, when we off camera, we'll talk about that. But yes, for sure.
Shout out to the Oasis podcast. If you ain't on it, you need to be on it. Like, I love it. I love the conversations you curate. You're a curator of conversations. You need to add that to your resume. Give me my 5% for that. You're a curator of conversations.
Always the business woman.
Yes. But I'm proud of you. I love what you're doing with this and just creating conversation. So keep it up. Please be encouraged in this. Keep it up.
I appreciate that. And I'm always about that networking, always about bigging up yourself. So again, your book, where they can find it, where they can find your content.
Listen here, if you like Girlfriends and Psycho, then you're going to love my book, because it's a mixed book.
It's a fact.
It is a murder mystery, homegirl, love story, all mixed into one, and it is the book 1 of 3, so it's a trilogy.
Yes.
So it's gonna be 2 more books that's gonna drop in the street after this one, but it's called Half of What You See: The Scars of Love, and you can get it directly off of my website, www.HarrietReturned, that's ED at the end.com. Follow me on Instagram at HarrietReturned, and it's also available in an ebook version on Amazon if you want to read it on your phone. But I'm so excited for y'all to read this book. It's popping. I'm not saying that just because I wrote it, saying it because it's popping.
It's good.
So go ahead and get the book. Go ahead and get the book. And if you like poetry, my first book is Before There Were Guns, There Were Guys. There's some poems in that, and that's dope. So whatever floats your boat, I got it. Head over to my website. Look for the merch, t-shirts, hats, all that good stuff. Support Black businesses, support Black creatives. We do it for the culture.
That's
so
it.
When you support us, you are supporting you. How about that?
For the love of us. That's it, right?
That's who I do it for.
The collective.
I can't talk about whoever else do it, but that's who I do it for.
That's it. And so I'm definitely going to have your information in the show notes. So whoever's interested, you can find that information there. Always.
The book club. We're the book club.
Go ahead. Y'all better network, baby.
Right. Dudes read too. We're all the fellas that read a good book. Okay. We're gonna change that name to the dudes don't read. It's dudes out here that read books.
That's the best.
Buy the book.
Yes.
Tell your
something
homeboys
for everybody. Yes.
Cop that. Thank you, baby. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Ayanna. Thank you again. Thank you for joining us.
For today's Connection Corner, I read from The Acts of Faith, one of my favorite books, from Ayanna Vincent. God is love. That is where we must begin. We cannot expect to have a loving relationship with our family, mate, or children until we heal our individual relationship with God. In the ancient traditions of people of color, all life was centered around the creative force and its elements. Our ancestors had a wholesome respect for the Creator and all creations. They honored the earth for support, the sun for the life force, and themselves as expressions of creation. Today we relate to one another's ego. We want to please one another because of who we are or what we have. We hold people in awe. We want people to fulfill our needs. We demoralize ourselves and one another for what we believe is love. God is love. That's it. God does not give presents. God does not have needs. God does not argue. God does not make threats. God does not feel abandoned. God does not deal with rejection. The only thing God does is love you, and that is the only reason you are here. The only relationship I will seek today is a relationship with love. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of The Oasis Podcast. I hope you were able to find something that resonated with you on your journey. Don't forget to subscribe everywhere you listen to podcasts and YouTube. Rate us and leave us a review and comment on Apple Podcasts or iTunes and YouTube. Share your favorite episode and like us on Instagram and Facebook. If you have any questions, comments, want to be a guest, or have show ideas, contact us at AayJaysOasis@gmail.com. That's AayJaysOasis@gmail.com, or direct message us on Instagram or Facebook.